In 2005 in California, New Art Museum was built in the place of the facility ruined by an earthquake in 1989. Contemporary architecture provided fresh quality to the classical park. Designers from Swiss studio Herzog and de Meuron are known for their unconventional approach to conventional materials, and they surprised with their ideas once again. The initial concept was to design a number of distinct pavilions around the Golden Gate Park, each manifesting a section of the art collection. This diagram has been shrinking until it became one solid form. After all, housing all the elements under one roof felt much more meaningful. However, this big block is sculpted, cracked, perforated, and surrounded by green environment doesn't seem so heavy. Inside, different museum sections interlace, giving an impression of diversity but with common ground. That feature feels really important, since the art collection tracks different cultures all the way back to the beginning of human history. Openings and entrances are located along two lines that divide the main horizontal part of the building. Segments created in that way, called by architects the fingers, reach inside of the garden at the same time creating inner courtyards. They allow the nature to intersect with the building, but the whole mass is still perceived as very rigid and closed. All the corridors created by those fingers facilitate the internal navigation, since they smoothly lead to the entrances and the main court. Despite the feeling that we may have after quick analysis of the plan, walls in the interior don't always follow angles established by the openings. In fact, some of the exhibition rooms have typical proportions with high ceilings and fixed walls, mostly intended for American art. On the other floor, the plan is open and flexible, designed for exhibits arranged in more unconventional and modern manner. That part is meant to hold the art collections from, among others, Australia, Africa or New Zealand. The Young Museum is the biggest copper-clad building in the world. 430,000 kilograms of that material is going to change the color with time, due to the oxidation. The idea is to fade the building into the environment, since the rust will have green tones in it. For the time being, the copper covering from far away gives a rough and industrial feeling. It somehow creates in people's sense of adventure and invites them inside. From closer look, perforated and dimpled panels change their appearance. The most interesting thing is that almost 8,000 unique pieces have been created by an algorithm to mimic the shadow given by the trees. It's a shame though that using this specific material to execute such a great idea is now being under attack. Copper is accused of poisoning the area. It comes off and turns into dust, polluting stormwater and later on the soil. The research of this topic continues in the area around San Francisco, and for now no hard measures were taken. Not only walls but also the roof is covered in copper, and it is the design on its own. Fully visible from the observation tower, sculpted pattern resembles topographic survey to create an impression of building fading into the site. Lines continue in the front yard, but unfortunately nowhere else in the location, which seems like missed potential. Apart from the main building, there is another important element. The educational tower seems to be freely twisted, but in fact it is a meaningful link between the city of San Francisco and the museum. Top floor of this 44 meters high construction is perfectly aligned with the strict grid of the city. It is a dramatic statement in the neighborhood and the fantastic observatory spot at the same time. Thinking outside of the box is not easy, but it can create astonishing results. Moments so ephemeral, like shadow of the tree on the sunny day, are worth exploring as a design inspiration, and the Young Museum is the great example of that. If you want to be part of Aesthetic Curiosity community, hit subscribe and see you next time. Just stay curious!